The city of La Quinta has developed in a beautiful environment, with great weather, beautiful surroundings, and scenic vistas. The city is internationally known for its superior quality of life, a wide range of housing, golf courses, art, and amenities. But what will La Quinta be in 2035? What will it look like? More importantly, what do we want La Quinta to look like in 2035? To answer those questions, the city is working on an update to the General Plan. The General Plan is an informational document that establishes goals, policies, and programs for the development of land within our boundaries. City staff, the La Quinta Planning Commission, and City Council will use it to guide their decision-making when new projects are brought forward. The General Plan is required by law, and it must address 7 specific topics, called elements. The land use element addresses where residential, commercial, open space, and public facilities are located, how much of each are needed in La Quinta to ensure a balanced community, and how they should be designed to maintain our high standards for quality development. Closely related to land use is the housing element, which describes how the city will provide housing for its residents at prices every income group can afford. The circulation element maps out not only the roads in La Quinta, but also trails, golf cart routes, and bus service. It establishes the standards by which roads and trails will be built and policies for the safe movement of people and goods through and within the city. The conservation element addresses La Quinta's natural resources, plants and animals, our historic and prehistoric resources, the quality of our air, energy resources, and water use. The open space element is tied to the conservation element and describes land in La Quinta that will be preserved in their natural condition. This element also includes parks, trails, and recreational facilities. In the safety element, we must address subjects such as earthquakes, flooding, and hazardous materials. We also need to address noise levels, including traffic noise and the noise from stationary sources such as air conditioners and mechanical equipment. In addition to these mandatory elements, the update effort will add 2 new elements specific to La Quinta: an economic development element and a sustainable community element. The economic development element will support the land use element, making sure that we balance land uses so that our community remains fiscally sound in the long term. The sustainable community element will tie a number of topics together to maintain and improve quality of life. How we help our residents and visitors to live a healthy life, how we plan to use water and energy wisely, how we are going to maintain the quality of the air we breathe, and participate in California's efforts at reducing greenhouse gases, and how we can reduce the number of trips we make in our cars, which helps improve our health and the air we breathe. In the next 18 months, the update effort will look at what we want to preserve and enhance in our city, and address those things that may need improvement to assure that La Quinta's quality of life is as good or better in 2035 as it is now. The General Plan is the city's blueprint for the future. It covers not only the land within the city now, but lands adjacent to the city in our sphere of influence, which are eligible for annexation in the future. The city currently stretches across 22,900 acres. About 13,100 acres, or just over half of the city, are developed, and another 5,400 acres are dedicated to open space. Within the city, there are 4,400 acres of vacant land that has yet to develop. In the sphere of influence, there are 8,100 acres of predominantly rural land. The development of vacant land and the reuse and development of 2 focus areas in the city will be the crux of the General Plan update. Although much of the city is already well established and developed, changing lifestyles and commercial trends allow La Quinta to look at creative opportunities for vacant lands and reuse and expansion of older, less efficient properties. There are 2 areas we will be focusing on in particular: the commercial core of the city along Highway 111 and the village. Along Highway 111, we want to explore how to best develop the remaining vacant lands in the economic heart of the city and maintain a healthy and growing retail sales base which is viable for the long term. Making sure that we take advantage of retail growth in the future will help to fund services for residents and assure that we have a good, balanced economic base. New state laws also require that we look at opportunities for higher density development, reducing our vehicle miles traveled and improving the balance between jobs and housing in La Quinta. Since the general plan is a window on our long-term growth, Highway 111 will present opportunities not only for new development, but also for redevelopment and reuse of older existing projects. We'll be considering areas where mixed-use projects could be successful, bringing higher density residential projects closer to where our jobs and retailers are. Critical to this concept is good design, so that future residents in these projects do not sacrifice quality of life. In the village, we have many opportunities. It is the heart of the city, where La Quinta began, and in recent years it has seen lots of change. Most of that change is for the better, and the village continues to draw more and more people for shopping, dining, and community activities. Now is the time to ensure that appropriate guidance is in place to turn opportunity into achievement. The village is also an area where we can introduce mixed-use development and create a truly walkable environment where people can live, work, and play. Assuring that everyone can enjoy our great environment, the general plan will also include goals, policies, and programs that implement and expand our parks, recreational opportunities, and trails. It will address special events, community activities, and gatherings that bring residents and visitors into our community. It will provide policies and programs for the long-term preservation of our open spaces and the wise use of our resources. All of these components will together form the basis for high-quality development in a fiscally sound environment in 2035. The only way we can plan for the city's future effectively is if we understand what the community needs and wants. So the first and most important part of the general plan update is getting input from the community. There will be a series of workshops scheduled to get input from residents, business owners, and visitors. Some will be geared to the city's future in general terms, others will be specifically targeted at the focus areas. At these workshops, city staff will collect information, present ideas, and get an understanding of what is important to the people of La Quinta. City staff and consultants will be working closely with residents and business people in both the Highway 111 and Village focus areas to develop long-term land use plans. Throughout the process, staff will update them on the ideas and concepts that are being considered. When final plans for these two areas are developed, they will be integrated into the land use plan for the city and sphere as a whole and presented to the community, the La Quinta Planning Commission, and the City Council. Once these groups have decided on the course we should take, the land use plan will become the preferred alternative on which the rest of the general plan will be based. The circulation element is probably the most critical component of the general plan. Once the land use plan has been established, it will include detailed analysis of how many vehicles the land use plan will add to our streets and how we can make sure that traffic moves efficiently through the city. It will also address alternative transportation and how the city can develop safe pedestrian and bicycle routes and accommodate other means of transport, including golf carts, neighborhood electric vehicles, and other means that are sure to be developed in the future. The general plan will also include analysis of our greenhouse gas emissions, now and in the future, and how we can help to reduce our impact on the environment. California is on the leading edge of these efforts, and the general plan will quantify our greenhouse gas emissions and include ways in which existing homes and businesses can reduce these emissions, and how projects proposed in the future can and must do the same. The other elements of the general plan will also be finalized to assure that all the components of the plan are internally consistent and support each other. That is the only way that we can ensure that the goals we set for 2035 will be met. The preferred alternative will also be analyzed in an environmental impact report, which will be distributed widely and made available for public comment. At the end of the process, in the summer of 2011, the final draft general plan will be presented to the Planning Commission and City Council for their consideration and approval. At that point, the work will begin to implement this vision and build toward a successful future in 2035.